Well, hello my loves and happy Sunday to you. Welcome to my messy studio. I'm doing things a little differently today because I wanted to kind of show you my process. I have, over the last couple of months, I've gotten more and more comments about people afraid to start, not knowing where to start, not having motivation or inspiration to start creating. They'll watch YouTube, my videos, other people's videos, and love it, but still do not put anything down. And or there is hardship or trauma or different things like that that we're all dealing with that keeps us from coming to our tables, whatever space that looks like. And I thought that I would kind of show you behind the scenes before you actually see a Sunday video, because the Sunday videos that you see are all pretty neatly packaged up and put together, and that's not how it works. I have played and made marks and messes and experimented and done all kinds of things before you actually see what happens on a Sunday. And videos all nicely edited and put together and all of that. And I really wanted to just show up and create with you, showing you kind of my process of how I get ideas. A couple of prompts that might help you get started. The other thing I want to say is, while I know that fear can hold us back from creating, or hurt can hold us back from creating, and I know a lot of your stories because I'm blessed that you share them with me, and I put you in my prayer book every week and I pray for you guys. And I know we all share different faiths, but that's how I put my whatever out into the world. I pray about it. And I know a lot of you are dealing with trauma and hurt, and you've said, I can't even begin to think about creating. And while I 100% get that, sometimes the act of healing happens when we just show up and make ugly stuff. And so I want to be able to do that with you today. I want to show you that the things that I do on Sunday that you see neatly put together aren't necessarily how it works every day in my everyday life. And, I ebb and flow, and some pieces are better than others. And, I try to let that be known as much as possible. But I want to show you the journals that you don't see. And I want to show you, kind of my process for just doing something. Because there are times in my own life where there's nothing. There's nothing in the tank. There's no inspiration, and everyone, I know everyone's like, I lost my mojo. While that is true, I still show up. I still show up and do something. And I'm going to show you what I do today. I normally will give you a supply list before we start creating and stuff like that, but that's not how it's going to work today because I don't know what's going to happen. I have done nothing yet. I haven't cleaned up my studio. I haven't done any of that. And right before I turned on the camera, I cut the tip of my finger off, cutting an orange because I was hungry. So I've got a waterproof everything on here, so hopefully that'll keep it safe. So we'll see how that helps with the creative process today. But there's always something that can keep us from creating. And in my experience, when I started this journey 12 years ago, coming in front of you, I've been creating for a long time, but coming to you, I had just started coming out of some of my darkest days. It might have been 15 years ago. I don't remember how long it's been. But I just started coming out of some of my darkest days. And the only way that I resurfaced was scribbling paint on a blank page. And that blank page can be anything. Anything. And I'm going to show you my nothing journals. I'm going to show you, it could be copy paper. It could be a scrap piece of paper that we put a couple of marks on. And from there, it continues to grow. And it might not be right away. And that spark of inspiration might not happen right away. But if we continue to show up and make a couple of scribbles or a couple of brush strokes, or we grab a supply that we haven't used, or a marker, or something that we want to try, or a color or something, and we make a couple of scribbles, it comes back. And in the process, there's healing in there. And I'm going to show you how I kind of went through some of my dark days and how I allowed the pages to heal me. So we're going to do a couple of different journal pages, just experimenting and see what happens in the process. And I'm going to talk my way through it. So I've got all my journals out here, and I have gessoed them. That's the only thing that I've really done to prep for the video. Some aren't even dry yet, but I want to look at a couple of things real quick before I start doing stuff. So on my table, this is the journal that I create in for Sunday. These are the pages that you see, each week, that are somewhat put together. I mean, they're not perfect, and I don't want them to be, because that's what our journals are for. But they've had some thought process put to them. But this is my good journal, it's my real journal. I'm going to set that one aside. And I always need more room. Always. There's never enough room, and I have good space. Now these are what I call my nothing journals. And these two babies right here are like part of my soul, because these have been I have been working in for, these two especially have been probably 4 years of things. There's a lot of life that's happened in 4 years. And these are just regular old notebooks from the dollar store. They're not special. And the reason I don't want them to be special, that's why my Sunday inspiration journal is nicer. It's got a heavier paper. It's got the more expensive paper. I approach it differently because there's more at risk, I guess. But with these, there's nothing to risk. This is a notebook from the dollar store. And I just did the cover of this one. We did a whole month in the membership on what I'm talking about with you today, and how it just that month of reminding myself how I find inspiration and how we play is so very important. It has re-sparked a whole lot of ideas and things, and so I'm giving you a snapshot of that today. So, but these journals are scribble pages, and I want you to see what happens when I don't know what to do. I'll just get out paint and start swatching color. And look, this is a mess, but it's beautiful, all in the same. And I tried stencils, I brayer off in these pages, and then some of them turn into actual pages. Some of these pages I've actually used to create in workshops. This is Journal Journey Workshop. But some of them actually turn into things, like really pretty pages. But, so you can see, see how this page looks? But the page before it was the experiment of this. So when I did this, I thought, well, there needs to be a little more contrast in there, maybe a different color, but I like the stencil. And so you can see how there's always a time where I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. This is just stuff that's been glued down. I cut out parts for a piece or for a workshop, and this was left over, and I thought it was kind of interesting. So I just start sticking it in here. These are not precious at all. I don't care what happens in these pages. Some are okay, and some aren't. Like this is, it's okay. But from this one, there were 3 other pages that happened because of this. And so I want you to see that all of this is experiment. All of it. And then it becomes something. And this page right here, so this is a great example of me processing and healing and working through life. So I wrote out what I was feeling. So this page had some stuff down, and I added a few more things, and then I just wrote out what was going on in my life. And the physical act of that release, that kind of dump of what's you're holding in is invaluable. I mean, the release is so valuable. This is more just experimenting. And then, so these are part of another workshop that came. This is just this is just me experimenting, trying new things. See? So these flowers, started out something like this, real rough, and I'm like, how can I make it better? It's all one giant experiment. All an experiment. And these journals are like part of me. And so this is often what I will do right here. I will just grab papers. I have a stack of papers over here constantly. I have papers everywhere. Who am I kidding? And I will just start sticking stuff in. Or I will color swatch. Like if I found a color, like 2 colors that I've seen maybe in a magazine or something, I want to see if I can recreate it. I just start doing something. I show up and make a mess. And then I'm telling you, in the process, this page here was through the membership. We just made a mess. I glued papers down. I did circles. I did all different kinds of prompts that we had. Just nonsense. And then I could see, as I'm doing different things, I could see how these little circles could be flowers. And it just builds on top of each other, the experiment process. Like, look at the crackle. I tried crackle for the first time through a stencil, and then I ended up using it in a Sunday inspiration. This was just lots of paper. Lots of paint, swatching that I turned into something. This, still isn't anything, but I can see it becoming something. This is one of my favorite pages, and I'm saving it for, I don't know, like the right thing. Again, more experimenting. Every single page is just a big, giant experiment. The background, I remember doing the background, then I just added some papers and some additional color. And see, these pages turn into something like this somewhere in the process. Because if I don't know what to do, I just bring out a journal, open it up, and start putting stuff down. I'll start putting paint down. I'll start putting paper down. Anything. Not thinking. I don't want to think. I just want to show up. The act of showing up and being consistent to do that. And I'm not saying we have to do it every single day. And I know life ebbs and flows. I know. But I want you to understand that the act of creating, it's not about perfection. The act of creating is not about creating a perfect journal page or a finished journal page, for that matter. You see me finish a journal page every Sunday, or not every Sunday, but every so often, or a finished piece every Sunday. And that's not what it's about. And that's not where I start. And so if I can remove that fear of you thinking that I have to have this great thing, I would be so happy if that happened. Or if you decided that maybe I just need to show up and write out what's going on in my life and then cover it up with paint. That's it. That's it for the day. But every single time that I do that, something happens within me. So, these are just my nothing journals. So, these two, I just love them. And they're almost done. There's just a few pages that are left in these big ones. They're so fat and chunky. I love it. So let me put these down here. So like this is where all my journals go, down here. And I have bigger ones that I use, but I don't use them very often because they're too precious. Like they have the good paper, and so I use my junky ones all the time. Okay, so let me set that over there. Okay, so these journals are my most current nothing journals that have, space in them to do stuff. And let's see, let me find the front of this. I have it folded out because it was so chunky. So this is just a composition notebook. Whoops. Composition notebook. These are the best. Absolutely, this is probably one of my favorites right now. The paper is so thin that, if I gesso it or paint on both sides, the paper feels like leather. But see, this is a project that I have brewing right now. This was just a color swatch. This was from a workshop from Peace on the Water. Peace on the Water. This was actually the membership bonus video. This was Peace on the Water. And they turn into something. But you can see, so I was playing with water over here, and then Peace on the Water workshop. Color experimenting. Trying things. Look at this color experiment right here. Oh, so good. This one was, I started creating this, and then I got an idea and painted it out right in the, I didn't even finish this, and this was also a membership video. But these pages are nothing, absolutely nothing, that could possibly turn into something, but if they don't, it's okay. This was, I was doing circles, and I saw in the paint behind, I saw flowers, and so I went with it. But it's not anything special. So I say all that, I didn't mean to take you through like an entire journal flip through or anything like that. I say all of that. Look at this here is the next workshop. So same with this one. So let me go to, so that's what we'll be creating on. Okay, so let me move, I'm just going to move this over. And these are my other ones. This is copy paper that I bound together. That's it. My gesso's not even dry on that one yet. Copy paper bound together. And again, see, I'm writing out, what do you think about these markers? That's my play. That's my prompt. And so I did this, and then with the markers, I started playing. I just grabbed a piece of copy paper because it was on my table. And from this, I did this, and now I can see this moving into something else or becoming collage paper. So every little thing that we do, however we show up, every little thing serves us. Again, color combinations, circles, different, this was just another one of those where I just showed up and started playing. And my message to myself in there, Yeah. Another play, another experiment. Experimenting again. I brayer off in these pages. Any extra paint on my palette I'll put in here, like this one. This was all extra paint. Trying to see some different stencil ideas. Oh, color palette. So, let me go back to my gessoed page here. And I want to just kind of walk you through, okay, put this, I got all my papers in between to keep my pages from sticking. Okay, so, and then this is another one. This one has nicer paper in it, and I rarely go to this one because it's a mindset, it's a mind shift, and I know that's silly, but that's exactly what I'm talking about when I say get something that doesn't matter. Copy paper, bind it together. Dollar store journal, use it. Just gesso the heck out of the pages and use it, because there's nothing to lose. You don't feel bad if it's just, you know, nothing. And I know it for me too. So this one has some nicer paper in it, and I go to it the least. But it's still got all kinds of messy, like this was an experiment. All this experimenting in here. It's so good. Whoa, like this background. Hello. It's a new workshop experiment. Okay, so now let's just start. I purposely did not clean up my area so that you could see like real time, like it's not pretty all the time around here. It just is like everybody else. So the first, like, I'm going to give you 3 ideas-ish, is kind of what I thought. But the first idea is to just go to a magazine. That's super easy. You're like, I don't know what to create. I don't even know what color to use, right? Sometimes that's how it is. So I'll go to, I think I posted that Stampington has several of my favorite magazines and my favorite inspirational magazines. Bella Grace is by far my #1, and I'll have a link to that below. But it has so many good things. It's the words, just the words alone are fantastic. And so I saw this, and I really liked the texture of the vase. And this is what I want you to do as you're doing this, is don't overthink it. Like, yellow's not a color for me. I don't use yellow hardly ever, but I liked it for whatever reason. I liked the stillness. I liked the texture of the vase. I liked the kind of antique feel of the flowers. So I pulled it. Don't overthink it. I pulled it and I thought, you know, I think I would use that. Or this one. Like, I loved this word's still becoming. And then look at the hands. I love those. So I would quickly, and if I don't do both of these with you, I will still use these in my journals. But this is Bella Grace Field Notes. This is the actual Bella Grace magazine. It is just stunning, beautiful photographs and incredible wording and all of that. So I will just pull an image from a magazine and start there. So I'm just going to show you how I allow this to inspire me. And I want the, and I don't want to overthink this. I want this to be fast. Okay, and I try to use, when I'm in this process, I try to use as little supplies as possible, or I try to use things that maybe I haven't used in a while. Whatever's usually it's whatever's close, because I don't want to overthink the process. The process is to start creating. And so there we go. Now we've got something in our journal. It's not a blank page. It's not anything scary. It's not anything weird. And in fact, this kind of over here, this like little bit of something, it has an interesting, I don't know, I like it. See, this is what I'm talking about though. So, you know, you could quickly talk yourself out of, well, how are you going to use that? Don't worry about it. And I have this here sitting on my table. Why not? So if I do that, what if I just, I like the writing, so I'm not going to overthink it. I'll just put that up there. Okay. Nice. And then I try to work quickly. So a lot of times I will towel off because I don't want to do a whole lot of dry time, because if you have downtime or dry time, you can talk yourself out of doing things. I'm not kidding. Our mind is crazy. But so I will kind of just dab off. That's good enough. And then I'm just going to come over here and grab my Stabilo All pencil. Maybe a sharp one would work. Okay, so and then I'm just going to write. I'm writing out what I need. I need inspiration. I need to find more joy in creating. I need healing. Whatever it is for you, write it out. Don't be afraid. Let it be what it is. Now, you could walk away from this right now and feel proud of yourself for showing up. You could. This is all you need to do. You've got something. And then you come back the next day and maybe you look at it and you have an idea about where you might want it to go. Or maybe you're inspired right now. So I've got my gesso and my ivory out here, and I'm going to come back over my writing, because this is always a sign to me that I'm working through my process. I'm covering it over. I've got it out already. And so I'm just going to get a little paint down here, and I'm not thinking about it. I'm just going to scrub this in. It's not pretty. This isn't pretty. Let it not be pretty. That's the best thing that we can learn to do for ourselves and our art, is to learn to let it not be pretty. And really, honestly, I love this. I love it. I love how it looks. I love the scratchiness of it. I love the brush strokes. And right away, so for me right away, I'm like, I need to do that more often. I like how that looks. I like that. I like that a lot. Now see what's happening for me right now is I'm getting inspired. I had no preconceived idea about what would happen for this. In fact, I didn't think I would go this far. But I can kind of see the table being extended out here. Look at that. Put a little bit of that kind of creamy color over there. I'll kind of pat that out. I like that, and I like, I'm gonna go with a little bit of, this is mustard yellow. It's kind of what that reminds me of. A little bit of that mustard yellow out there. So this was, this is acrylic wash that I'm exploring, and that's in raw umber. That's the table. Acrylic wash is permanent, and it is, what did I just do? See, I'm talking and I'm not paying attention. So I got a little bit of that yellow out here. I'm just bringing some of that yellow over here because I've got some of that yellow there. Dip my rag in, kind of pull that back. I like that. I really, really like that. I can see this going in a lot of different directions. Okay, so I'm going to stop there because this is what I want you to see, that if you do this, it has to, it's, 20 minutes of time. Find a, image, put it down, a couple of strokes of paint, that's it. And then let it be. Unless you're inspired. I'm completely inspired by this, but I want to show you a couple other options. So I'm going to set this aside and get my other journal out, and we'll do another option. Okay, so the other thing that you can do is go to your junk mail. Go to junk mail, go to your catalogs, go to random things. So I'm going to show you. So I have, this is, my nothing journal. This is the copy paper one. I have these, we order supplies here in the shop from this company. And we don't use the catalog, but I use the catalog for the numbers. The numbers are awesome. So I save the catalogs. The other thing is you can go through, there's all different kinds of things. There's even envelopes, your junk mail envelopes, all your junk mail stuff. These are dollar store coloring books that I have. I have just tons of random bits of things. I would never color that, but I always grab them up if they're on sale or whatever, and they're, 2 for $1. I'm like, yeah, I could totally see that. And so even if they're weird like this, I'm just going to use it because I want you to see that it's okay. Everything is okay. And so what I'll do, let's just say I can't find anything in a magazine. I don't feel like it. I just start tearing up paper. This is just a pure act of showing up. I have a magazine page a lot of times will give you some direction. There's no direction here. This is just something to do. So, grab I'm going to grab Fluid Matte Medium. And the reason I'm doing Fluid Matte Medium is because it's fast. And I don't care. If the paper's wrinkled, the paper's wrinkled. Let it be what it is. And I will just start slapping it down. Don't think about it. You'll be amazed at what happens. You'll see a design. You'll see something in the papers that you may not have thought about. Like the other side is a flower. Huh. There you go. Now I'm all like, oh, cool. I got two different kinds of designs. And the second I start like examining where I want things to go is the second I'm overthinking it. So just keep going. Cover the whole page and let it be. Look at that face. Got some more of this envelope here. I've got this scrap piece of, I don't know where this came from. I'll put that down. And I'm trying to cover most of the areas, but I'm not being too particular about it, obviously. I am overlapping, but it doesn't matter. It just does not matter. And then, okay, so my page is covered. In the process of this, we've told ourselves that it's worth showing up, doing this, whatever this is. Now, this is still wet, and I typically will not wait for it to dry when I'm in this place where I just need to do something and I don't know what to do. So I just go for it. So it's wet with fluid matte medium. I'm going to grab something. I'm just going to grab some soft pastels. They're the closest at hand. This is what I've got. And the paper might tear or smear or something. Let it do it. Because it's in that process that, so oftentimes this is where I found some of my best techniques. If you do that into your, make sure to wipe off your soft pastels because it could make them gunky. Ooh, see, that's a pretty blue. I really like that. I'm going to pull some of this up. Some of my papers too. Careful. Pull up some of that matte medium. Just kind of go do some, see what I get. This is always what I do when I'm needing inspiration. I just come and make a mess. I have some, these ones. Yeah. These are Stabilo all pencils in colors, and a lot of times they'll write on anything, even when it's wet. my paper's tearing, I don't care. Let it be that. We've got a little soft pastel in there. Nice. See what I mean though? I got a little break of soft pastel. Well, let's rub it in. Why not? What will we get? Okay. So that's how I will show up to a page often. And sometimes I'll do multiple pages like this because this didn't require anything of me. It didn't require any creativity. It just required me to put papers down and grab something. And even if it's something like, so like I want to explore this color here. Haven't used this color. This is the acrylic gouache that I'm trying to, you know, learn how to use. So put some of that on my brush. See how it works. See how opaque the color is, whatever it might be. That's all I'll do. Maybe I'll try all the colors on this page. And in the process, typically what happens is I find a color combination. So like I have a little bit of blue or orange on my brush and I mix it with that blue. I kind of get this really pretty tealy green. I like that. That color. Okay, and that's what I'll do. And then I'll let it be unless something sparks my creativity. And you just never know. This one's not even open yet. Oh yeah, it is. This is fluorescent. Woo! Is that bright? But like I've got those circles, kind of interesting to me. And so I can go on and on and on like this. There's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing. None whatsoever. And every time I do this, I'm always inspired. Like I like that orange yellow color underneath that fluorescent pink. That's really pretty. So those are the things that happen as we begin to experiment. And then you're able to take it with you to something that maybe you are truly inspired and want to create with. So that's the other idea, that I always do this, always. I have pages and pages like this, and it always keeps me inspired. It always keeps me showing up without having any expectation, without having to do a thing. So I'm going to set this one aside. So that is like junk mail, catalogs, scraps, putting those papers down and just putting marks on it while it's wet, not waiting for it to dry. Just keep going and see what happens. There's always the best things that happen. Okay, set this over here. Bring this one over. Okay, let me clean this up. I gotta kind of clean this up just a tiny bit. Okay, so the next one is just a personal photo. Maybe you've got a photo that you love that's sitting on your desk, or maybe it's on your phone. Maybe you snapped it while you were walking or traveling or whatever. A picture of a leaf. I do that all the time. I take pictures of grungy walls, of all kinds of random things, because there's something interesting about it. So I just printed this photo out from, I sent it, I had snapped it with my phone. We live near the water, and so this was a sunset the hubster and I experienced, and it was so beautiful. It's always beautiful. But it was on my phone, and it just, we watch the sunset together a lot. And so this is a great memory of mine. And so I chose to print this one out. I just printed it on copy paper. I didn't have to do anything special. And I did cut out, while I was putting everything away, just because I knew that I wanted it to kind of be over in this area. Whatever size you want to print, whatever journal, it doesn't matter. Again, don't overthink it. I'm going to grab some fluid matte medium. And I have this piece of paper out on my desk, and I'm not even sure what it was for, but it's kind of cool. So I thought, well, I'll just kind of put that underneath there. The Girl Next Door. I love that. That's me. So I like that. So I'm going to put those down. And I'm thinking a little bit more through this one, partly because that photo is personal. It's part of me. It's my story. And that might be what you need to do. Maybe you're trying to heal. Maybe you're going through something, and maybe you need to make it a little bit more personal. But again, don't overthink it. So like this, I didn't go searching for something. This was on my table, and I thought it would be interesting. Okay. I'll put that down. And because this is personal, I'm going to write. And so you can see that there are times when, like the previous journal page, it was nothing. I just mindlessly was doing stuff. Or you can choose to infuse what's going on with you in your pages. And that's completely up to you. And I can't find there it is. But because this is personal, I just want to write so this is our story. This is our happy place. We waited a long time for this. That's plenty. I could write more. I could be more personal. I could write out my hurt. I could do all of the things right here in this page without it being anybody's business. It's just you and the page. And I could walk away from this and it would be fine. You could leave it just like this. You could begin to add papers if you wanted to. It's completely up to you. But you've done something. So I, of course, will want to add a little bit. So I'm playing with these gouache, and that's all. It's all out on my table. It's nothing special. And this Mars Violet that I have been playing with for the last couple of weeks, and that's kind of how I work. Okay. So this is pretty wet, so I'm just going to tap it out. Okay, there we go. Now I'm just going to explore a little bit. So I think I'm going to grab... This is so fun because I've been wanting to try my gouache. Oh, I don't think this one's open either. Okay, I'm not going to take the time to do that because I don't have a finger. I like the acrylic wash because it's very opaque and very matte, and I love that. Okay, so let's see what we got. So I'm going to I'm just playing. I have no plan. Maybe. Okay. So what I want to make sure that I'm not doing is overthinking, because I go into it real easy. Because this is fast. We're going to do this fast. And I kind of like that I put this as our story. So I'm just going to kind of leave it like that. Let it be visible. I kind of like it just like that. I'm going to add a little bit of some beige here. Up here. Oh, I got all kinds of colors on my brush. And see, that's the beauty of working quickly. You never know what you're going to get, and I love that. And I hope you notice what's happening with me. I get inspired, I see things, and I start going with them. And that's what I hope happens for you too. And if it doesn't, that's okay. I don't want you to think that it has to happen every single time or that it has to happen at all. And so for me, I would probably kind of continue on this road a little bit and experiment a little bit more with this page, because I can kind of see things kind of coming together. I can see maybe adding some more papers or different things like that. But the act of showing up, the act of writing, the act of playing helps our inspiration. It helps wake us up a little bit. It helps us process. It helps us heal. And so I wanted to give you those are the 3 things that I do all the time within my nothing journals, the journals that just don't matter. Because then I can get inspired and take a project like that to my big journal, my good journal, and get a little bit more detailed. Now, there's a lot of times I will finish these pages. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and maybe work on this one or the other one and kind of complete it. And I hesitated to do that. I hesitated to think about like taking it to completion, because the whole point of me showing up today is to help you know that it doesn't have to be complete. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not about perfection. Today is about showing you that we all go through times where we're not inspired, that we are restless in our creativity, that we are maybe hurting and healing and wounded and all of those things, and all of that sucks the creativity out. And so I wanted to give you some options to just show up without any pressure and just do something, because always, for me, always in that process, you saw how quickly I was working, and I was trying to work fast because this is real time and I don't want this video to be forever. You saw how quickly it went for those 3 pages. And then I can kind of, when I come back to it, I can maybe slow down and take a look at it, or maybe not. Maybe I leave it. Like, I love this, just the way that it is. And this is our story. This is our happy place. We've waited so long for this. That's our story. And that's what our journals are for. So I'm going to choose a journal page to kind of take to completion roughly. Nothing special. And I'll have all of the supplies listed on the blog, and the link to the blog will be down below in the YouTube description box. By the time you see this video, let's see, I'm trying to think where, okay, so I couldn't remember what day it was. That's a usual thing for me. I was trying to remember if I needed to remind you about anything. I did not use any stencils today. So obviously there's not any stencils on sale. I will have all the supplies listed for you. And you could, I haven't used any stencils. If I do use stencils in this page, that stencil will be on sale. But of course I don't know, because I'm doing this kind of real time. So I've decided to do this page here. I just love it. I love the softness of it. And it kind of inspires me. I had a hard time because I really like, I'm going to take that one further, I think, because I love it because it's so personal. But this one I like because I like the softness and the soft brush strokes. So I'm going to see what happens with this. I'm not going to talk through it. I'm just going to do my thing and speed up the video so that, we're not here for an hour and a half. I won't do any follow-up conversation at the end. We've talked our way through this. This is for you to help you know that even when you don't feel inspired, doing something helps. And when you're hurting, this is the best place to let it go, to process, and everyone is different, and it takes time and all of that. But this is the place where I have done more healing and growth and soul searching and getting answers and figuring things out when I'm doing this mindless kind of stuff. And the best pages for you are the imperfect ones, because it's you. It's all you. And you're just here for you. And for your creative time. And so I'm going to take this however far it goes, and I hope you enjoyed today, and I will see you next Sunday. Oh, and always, always know that you are loved.